Alan Wassilin Habibi, I heard that there will be a good talk today. Namaste Beta, I heard the same thing too. He's a Malaysian teacher who made an app.
Oh hi Yogo Zamas, not just any app, a teaching app. Erica-chan was just telling me about it. That's right, his YouTube video promoting the app was great.
Hello there. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Now let's jump right into it. So today, we'll be talking about MIT App Inventor and how to use it. Let's go. So to begin, we just click Start New Project and you key in the name. As you can see here, we just have a blank screen with nothing on it. So then we access the palette. Here you can find many things to influence the user interface, such as buttons, checkboxes, images, labels, and many more. Then if you scroll down, there'll be even more options, such as layouts, media, maps, and whatever else you would like to add. And over here we have the components and properties bar. Using the properties bar, we can adjust whatever we drag from the palette. So to start, let's change the background color of this screen. Ta-da! Then from there, how about we drag a label? Then let's drag an image as well. Then under layout, let's take in a horizontal arrangement. And from here, let's drag in two buttons. Alright. So as we can see, we can't fit both buttons underneath the same layout. So we need to expand the layout by making the width to fill parent. Now we'll do the same with the label. First we adjust the height here to make it about 20%. And then we'll make the width to fill parent. We'll do the same with the picture as well. So we'll just make some adjustments and there you go. So now we'll just use the properties bar to change the title of the text. Sorry, I mean title of the label. And here we go. And ta-da! Earlier we had dragged an image bar. Now this is how we upload the picture. Simply press the image, then open your browser, and therefore you can just choose whatever picture you want and it'll be uploaded to MIT App Inventor 2. And there it is. So essentially, these are the basics when it comes to designing your screen. Now, we'll show you a complete screen from another app called Literature Aid. And here we are. This is Literature Aid. So this is what it looks like. It's made out of an image, a vertical arrangement, and multiple buttons. The buttons, as you can see, have been edited by the properties bar. Now, let's take a look at its other screens. Uses an image and uses buttons. And another screen, same thing, uses image and uses buttons. Now we arrive at the blocks area. This is where we do coding. So first, let's select screen 1 initialize. So this initially marks when screen 1 loads up, what happens. So we'll choose screen 1, image 1 picture. And then we'll set the picture to visible. Now let's bring in the label too. Let's put the image underneath the label and let's put it under the initialize. Now we also want the label to be visible. So let's go on the label and set visible. Nice. So our button 1, which will act like our back button, what we want to do is that when we click it, we want the screen to close. So from control at the top, we just drag in the function close screen. There you go. Now, for demonstration purposes, we have the blocks from Literature Aid. As you can see, each button is programmed so that when it's clicked, it'll open a subsequent screen. Okay, now let's take a look at the coding blocks for other screens. So this is the coding block for the imagery screen. So here we can see multiple blocks used from the palette. As you can see, there are many types of blocks that have been used. We have control blocks, variable blocks, list blocks, and even text blocks, as well as math blocks. Essentially, what this coding scheme is telling us is that when the next button is pressed, the list will change to +1, and when the list has changed via +1, a new picture will be displayed in the image section. Therefore, switching through the notes contained in Literature Aid. Lastly, under control, when the menu button is pressed, the screen for imagery will simply close.
Habibi, this seems good and all, but it looks quite hard.
Hide. I agree. Is it worth learning, Omar-san?
Aye, of course it is. Let me pass the floor to Live Action Omar to explain the uses and advantages of MIT App Inventor.
So, one of the first benefits of using MIT App Inventor is that from an educational perspective, it provides an additional avenue for teaching and learning. This is because instead of using textbooks, exercise books, references, and even like online websites, we can instead use apps to teach our students. And our students themselves could have a copy of the app in their own phone, and therefore they can take part in their own learning. Because of this, not only do teachers and students no longer have to bring around heavy textbooks, but it also breaks the monotony, making learning more interesting because it's in the form of an app. For the second advantage of MIT App Inventor would be that it acts as an effective and practical classroom supplement. What makes it so practical is in the fact that we can carry around the apps that we make and we design for our students and for ourselves everywhere, in the sense that it can be on our phone, on our tablet, and we can bring it wherever we want. On top of being accessible wherever we want, but more importantly, these apps that we design can be accessible whenever we want. This is because some students prefer to study in the day, some of them prefer to study after lunch, and some prefer to study at night. Therefore, designing apps as a learning reference makes it practical and therefore more reliable, in the sense that students can use this without any time limitations or place limitations. All they need is their phone and they can learn effectively. Now that we have covered the previous two advantages, which mainly concern from a teacher and educator's perspective, we will now move on to the third advantage, which covers from a basic coding perspective. The best part about MIT App Inventor is that the coding provided and the programming that we have to do is on a basic level. It makes use of blocks and other design features, which makes it easier to access for beginners like myself and for probably other teachers out there. This is because I'm pretty sure that most teachers out there, like myself, who had a degree or qualification in education, we are not trained to use scripts such as Java and all the other advanced scripts. Therefore, having something that is much easier to access and much friendlier in terms of coding and programming makes MIT App Inventor a great choice for all beginners. Moving on to the fourth advantage of MIT App Inventor would be in terms of its user-friendly feature. MIT App Inventor is very user-friendly in the terms that everything is nicely labeled and the blocks are color-coded. To highlight what I mean by being clearly labeled and easy to see, we will now show you a few screens of the design screen of MIT App Inventor. Now that we've all seen a couple of examples of design screens, I will now move on and show you guys some example of block screens. This is so that you can see the user friendliness in terms of how nicely color-coded the blocks are. Alright, so that concludes advantage number 4 by seeing how user-friendly it is in terms of the labeling and the color-coded features. Now that we have covered that, we will now move on to the fifth advantage of MIT App Inventor, which would be having an abundance of learning materials. What I mean by learning materials in this context would be learning materials as designers. There are plenty of tutorials in the form of YouTube videos as well as books. In the essence of YouTube tutorials, simply just type in MIT App Inventor and how to, and we can be redirected to multiple videos that will show us a step-by-step guide on how to design certain basic apps. And with that, that would be the advantages of MIT App Inventor from my perspective. To better summarize it for you, we have provided an infographic in just a moment.
And there you have it. That sums up your tutorial and intro to MIT App Inventor. Guys,